I'm living in Suffern, New York, which is about 25, 30 minutes north of the city. Route 17 straight up, it's where New Jersey turns back into New York. I'm living in this beautiful house built in 1785, 2 acres. It's incredible. It's just like a dream, you know? And where we lived at the time was kind of like suburbs meet country, you know, kind of half and half, you know? So I used to go run every morning, and sometimes I would drive to this place called Round Pole Reservation in Mahwah, New Jersey, which is a beautiful park, or sometimes I drove all the way to Nyack and I would run along Hook Mountain, along the Hudson River. But most mornings, I would just go out my front door and I would run out across Route 202, then I go up to Viola Road, and I would just run around the area, which was just a beautiful area, and I'd run past all these old homes, and it was just gorgeous, you know, and it was a great way to start my day. So anyway, one day I get up, it's pouring, like it's raining really hard, you know, but I want to run. Like I cannot have this day without running. So I get my running shoes on, put on my gear, and I get out the door, go across Route 202, start running up Viola Road, and as I get about maybe 100 feet onto Viola Road, I feel something grab onto my heel. And I'm like, what the fuck? You know, like something is holding onto my heel and like kind of pulling. And so I'm like kicking back, trying to get this thing off of me because I'm kind of freaked out by nature. And then all of a sudden I feel it on my other heel. So now both of my heels, something's pulling on me. And I'm like, what the hell's going on? So I'm kicking and I'm thinking, is this a skunk? Like, is this a raccoon? Like, what the hell's on my back? And then all of a sudden, out of my peripheral vision, I see wings, like longer than my wingspan, like big wings, and it starts to flap and pull. And all of a sudden I'm hearing like, rah, rah, like some kind of weird sound, and it's flapping really hard, and I'm kicking. And then all of a sudden I say to myself, yo, just stop. Stop. Like, this absolutely has to be a dream. It's definitely a dream. But then it keeps happening and it's not a dream. So I'm pushing back and I'm kicking, I'm elbowing this thing, and I'm feeling these wings. And finally, after about 50 meters, which is like half of a football field, I get this thing off of me and I jet home. And I run into my house, and Kathleen says to me, what happened? Like, what's going on? I said, what happened is that we are moving back to the city right now. And she's like, what are you talking? I said, yo, a bird attacked me, like got on my back. She's like, oh my God, that is so spiritual. And I'm like, yo, spiritual? I've been saying my whole life, no human being should live above the George Washington Bridge. Like, humans should live below the George Washington Bridge in Manhattan, and then that's the animal kingdom above there. We should not encroach upon them. It's not the right thing to do, and they're going to get mad at us and start to attack us while we're running. And so anyway, my mother was in a hospital at the time pretty close to my house, so I'm just freaked out. I called the cops first, and I told the cop the story, and he laughs at me. He's like, what do you want me to do? I'm like, well, do I have rabies? He goes, well, rabies? What are you talking about? Did it break your skin? Like, did it bite you? What are you talking about? I was like, well, I don't know. I've never had a bird on my back before. And he says to me, look, call the Audubon Society or something like that, or maybe the town of Ramapo. So I called the town of Ramapo. They gave me the phone number of the Audubon Society, so I called them. They happen to be located, I think, in Fort Lee, New Jersey, or I can't really remember. Maybe it was in Orangeburg, somewhere else up in Rockland County. And so now I gotta wait. I leave a message. And so I take a shower, and now I'm going to see my mother, who happened to be in a hospital pretty close to me. And I drive back past where this happened, and I see a big bird sitting on top of a fire hydrant. And it is the same size as the fire hydrant. It's just sitting there, and I'm thinking, that's the bird. That's the bird that jumped on my back. It probably got injured, you know, during our encounter or whatever. And so I actually took a picture of it, and if I could find the picture, I'm going to include it in this video. And so then I go see my mom, and a couple hours later I get a message from the Audubon Society, and my friend Steve Sachs is going to argue with this because he is positive that this was a red-tailed hawk. But the guy from the Audubon Society said, look, that is a immature bald eagle, and they happen to be migrating this time of year. They come from Rockland Lake, or they come from the Hudson River, and they fly right over this area, which is really close to Harriman State Park. And he said, since it was a young eagle, you were wearing running shoes, right? I said, yeah. He goes, you have like reflective material on the back of them? I said, yeah. He goes, well, the bird saw this reflective stuff like kind of shimmering, and it saw the water like bouncing off your shoes because it was raining, and so it thought that this was like a river or a lake, and he thought that your running shoes were fish, and that's how they fish. And so he swooped down to get the fish, and he just happened to ignore the runner attached to the running shoes, and that's why he tried to lift you off the ground.